Welcome to Jumpstart Monday. We are live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. So if you're with us today, please let us know in the chat below or in the comments, depending on your platform. We would love to hear from you. We are continuing the series on power skills. If you remember, in the previous episodes, we talked about optimism, we talked about resilience, we talked about kindness, we talked about growth. But without the skill that we are talking about today, no one can be successful either in their personal life or professional life. And the skill we are talking about today is called empathy. If we go back 1,000 years ago, the animal that we now call dog, it didn't exist. They were actually called wolf. And dogs transformed into, or wolves transformed into dogs because they developed a skill called empathy. Empathy is a skill that is not only, let's say, a skill that helps you develop as a leader, but it's also a very important survival skill, and is a skill that transforms us from a wild animal into a social animal. Now, I will stop talking and I will bring Michael to the stream and also our guest. And let me introduce Michael and our guests.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you very much. I guess when dogs were domesticated, they became more empathetic, so people would love them and they would love people as well, huh?
Exactly. That was the point. And I
Yeah.
think they were very clever animals. Okay, but let's stop talking about dogs because we have a very important guest today. So let me say a few words about Panayotis Thrasyvoulou, who is joining us today, if you allow me, Michael.
Yes, please.
I apologize, I have to read on the right. Panayotis Thrasyvoulou is the head of People Advisory Services in E&Y Cyprus. At E&Y, Panayotis and his team help organizations become future-proof. He joined in E&Y 11 years ago in HR leadership roles in diverse groups of companies, which, amongst others, operate in the fields of automotive, construction, property development, hospitality, FMCG, IT, and 3PL. Before joining E&Y, Panayotis ran his own consulting firm for 3 years. He's a certified quality manager, a certified trainer, and assessor of renowned psychometric tests. He holds a BSc in business management from Essex University and MSc from in international employment relations and human resources management from LSE. And he's currently completing his PhD in management from the University of Cyprus. At LSE, he received the Foundation of Automation and Human Resource Development School Prize for overall performance. His academic research revolves around the issues of work and organizational design. He served 2 terms as president of the Cyprus Human Resources Management Association. A very impressive CV, I have to say.
And before we give Panayotis the microphone, let me say that this is what Panayotis has done in the past. But how I see Panayotis, I see him as a great guy who's very capable, a problem solver, an empathetic leader, and a great friend. We've known each other for the last 12 years. I believe I was there in everything that Sophia has mentioned, other than his university years. And I have to say that whenever I talk to Panayotis, I get an air of confidence. If there were problems in collaboration, in anything we encountered up to now, Panayotis would start by saying, Michael, don't worry, we'll fix this, we'll get it done. So let's discuss how we go about it. So I admire Panayotis for this, and I believe he's the right guy to talk about empathy. And just to give you some statistics coming from Harvard when it comes to empathetic leaders, and Panayotis is an empathetic leader, in my opinion. Teams that are run by empathetic leaders are 61% more innovative compared to 13% by teams that are run by non-empathetic leaders. In terms of engagement, they are 76% more engaged vis-a-vis 32% by teams run by non-empathetic leaders. Retention, approximately 60%. And inclusivity, 50% more inclusive, 17% by teams that are run by non-empathetic leaders. And work-life balance, Panayotis, 86% they feel that they have work-life balance if they are run by an empathetic leader versus 60% if they're not. So having said all this, Panayotis, welcome to the Jumpstart Monday show. This was the longest introduction ever, but it was worth it.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be with you today, and I'm looking forward to our talk.
Thank you, Panayotis. First question, you have worked with many prestigious organizations, you have run successful teams. My question to you is blatant. What role does empathy play in managing teams?
Yeah, so I would say empathy is one of the most important skills to be able to lead high-performing teams. At the end of the day, we must accept that effort is discretionary, right? So people choose to give you back their effort. So empathy is all about understanding the emotional needs of others. So putting yourself into their shoes. It's about asking questions and really listening what is being said. It's not only about you trying to understand, but also about showing it, right? So when people understand that you are making a conscious effort to reach out to them, people give you more discretionary effort. Simple as that. So
I love it. I love it.
It's in our interest. I mean, even with a self-serving argument, it's in the interest of every manager to become more empathetic. And I know there is a whole discussion about the value of skills and how much restricted we are by our own personalities. And the truth of the matter is that empathy is indeed a skill. It's personality based, but it's not personality bound. So we're a bit restricted by our own personalities and impulses, but at the end of the day, knowing about how restricted we are, we can all develop this great skill of empathy at the end.
And you're spot on, because in most articles that I've read, looking into the subject, I also studied psychology at university, they were talking that empathy is innate, you're born with it, but you can also develop it. So you've summed it up excellently well. So effort is discretionary. You can learn about empathy even if you were not born by being too empathetic. All right, Next question, Panayotis. We know that hard skills get the job done, but it takes soft skills to get the job done in an extraordinary fashion, what we call power skills. Which are the soft skills, in your opinion, that have helped you advance your career other than empathy?
Well, yeah, it's a matter of skill sets and mindsets, I would say. It's both. So you need a mindset which relates to growing, to accepting that we are all work in progress, to becoming better, and accept that about you and others as well, and then go on and develop the skills, the relevant skills to execute based on that mindset. During the healthcare crisis and long after that, I would say, we are going to need skills to be able to manage the new normal, and the new normal dictates that we need, for example, remote collaboration skills. So it's not only about knowing the platforms and the content sharing capabilities and the digital skills we need to acquire. It's also about remotely engaging with our people and remotely trying to reach out to them and make an effort to balance integrate their working and personal lives in order for them to give back their effort, which is discretionary, as we said. So remote collaboration skills is core to navigate within the new normal. Moreover, I would say that what we call cognitive flexibility and emotional adaptability. So we need to be able to acquire an agile mindset and be able to handle whatever comes in our way accordingly and in the best possible manner. So emotional adaptability and cognitive flexibility are also core skills of the future. When it comes to managing relationships, of course, empathy is the most important skill, but empathy is preceded by other sub-skills as well. So, for example, being able to ask great questions, active listening, which, by the way, is the least developed work-related skill in the world. Active listening is the least developed work-related skill in the world, and it's a necessary prerequisite to build empathy, right? So these kinds of skills will be increasingly needed in the workplace, and those are the skills which will differentiate people and predict their success, I would say. Even in highly technical professions, we see that with software developers, with team leaders, with people working in highly technical environments. Those are the skills that will get them forward.
Wow, impressive, very impressive. Thank you for letting us know. And as Greeks, we find it a bit difficult to be great listeners, but we're great talkers. True.
Of course, of course.
It's in our ancestors' blood, it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
Panagiotis, I'm sure that part of your success comes from having mentors or having seen people that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, or you were inspired by these people. Can you tell us which is a person that you truly admire and what's the major lesson that he or she has given you, has taught you?
Well, if I was to choose one person which really defined me and made me think about those kinds of skills, because I must admit that I'm also work in progress and I'm not there yet in terms of being empathetic. Just watch me a couple of hours with my kids. I lose my patience quite often, and I'm trying, and I'm really trying. But if I was to choose one person who really made me think about that person was not coming from the business world. It was my school principal back in the days when I was in high school, and I was presiding the students' union. And this guy really made me think about what leadership really means. So this guy encouraged me to communicate with my fellow students. He led me, he allowed me to take ownership and gather all the school to talk to them. He was assigning responsibility when it comes to talking to the press when something went wrong. He came and asked me questions about what I think about things he was doing with regards to governing the school and the various stakeholders around him. So this guy really made me start thinking about the things that really matter when it comes to leading other people, to leading teams, and to leading entire organizations. And it was the best leadership development lesson that I received in my life. And I was not even bothered with what to study yet, and I was not even bothered with entering the business world yet.
So if I can sum it up in one word, he gave you initiative and he allowed that initiative, and you took advantage in the good sense of that initiative that the principal has given you, correct?
Yes, yes. And Mr. Panikos, if you are watching, well done.
And if you are watching, Mr. Panikos, well done for watching the Jumpstart Monday show. So I have also a remedy for your kids. If you like to become more patient, and since you work for a big four company, build them, and you will be able to listen to them. I'm joking, but if you build them, you will be not build them, but build them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because with our customers, we're even more patient, isn't it?
Yeah, jokes aside, Michalis, they say that when you try to build those kinds of skills, you should practice in a low-stakes environment. So choose a setting where even if things go wrong, there will be no downside risk in terms of how you will handle and remedy it. So practicing with people who are very close to us, such as our kids and our spouses, it's a perfect setting for developing those work-related skills, which at the end of the day, they are life skills, right? They are making us more effective.
Yes, very true.
Around us. Not only at our jobs.
You said spouses, and my wife just sent in a question. Unbelievable. We will ask it in a while. Unbelievable. Okay, Panagiotis, let's take the other side of empathy now. Are there times, either in our business or in our professional or personal life, are there times where being too empathetic can turn out to be a problem?
But really interesting question, Michalis. Yeah, I think that in general, in social sciences, we should not be dogmatic, right? So things change, societies evolve, our values evolve, and social sciences evolve with them. There is always a counter argument to anything we say, and those people who counter argue are also most probably right. So things are not written in stone. It's not physics. It's not hardcore positive sciences. So the truth of the matter is that there is research which indicates that being too empathetic might lead you to making the wrong policy decisions. So when it comes to large populations of people, attaching yourself too much to some subgroups of them may lead you to take some wrong decisions.
Do you have an example? Is there an example so we can see it more vividly?
Yeah, it's something we discussed a while ago, if I remember, and we were discussing the example of let's assume that you are the president of the US and you are watching people getting killed during a war. And then you see a father holding his kids and the television is projecting that. And you empathize too much with that father and his kids. And you want to get involved in the war so as to punish the people who did that. And by getting involved yourself in the war, you kill 10,000 more other kids. So this is
understand.
the wrong policy decision to take, because you came too close to the situation. Having said that, it's not bad to always exert an effort to really understand the emotional needs of others. However, there is a limit to that, and psychometrically, I would say it goes up to 70 to 75% of being empathetic. And this has been evident in the psychometric profiles of many CEOs.
Okay, very interesting.
Always try to be empathetic, not too empathetic, but always on the high end, and making a conscious effort sends the right signals to all people.
All right, very good, very good. So Panayotis, one last question, because we have a lot of questions coming in. I hope we can get to all those questions. If we can send them the answer in writing. My question is the following. We have a lot of leaders watching us. So what is one final message for all the leaders watching us, and for all those people who want to become leaders or managers in their organization? What is one last message from you?
Well, when it comes to empathy, it comes down to a couple of things. So the first really important message that I would like to give is that we should not underestimate the importance of trying to understand others and showing it. People will reciprocate every time. You should not underestimate the importance of that. And especially during these times where we should work remotely or the post-pandemic world, which will involve some sort of hybrid working. So we should not underestimate the importance of trying to reach out to other people and trying to understand them and showing it. And the second one is that most of the times, by doing that, you will be positively surprised. Trust me.
No, I do trust you. I do trust you. So, Sophia, welcome back. We have some questions. Panayotis has enlightened us a lot when it comes to empathy. And please shoot away with the questions.
Yes, Sotia is asking, how would you advise employees to deal with non-empathetic bosses, managers in today's world?
Okay, we could talk for 3 days about that, but at the end of the day, it's about managing up and being empathetic yourself, asking more questions, and trying to make your boss understand where you're coming from. But also, before you do that, you try to understand where they are coming from. So make them more empathetic by asking more questions yourself, exercising active listening, reflecting back on them, and then maybe they will come closer and closer. We are not looking for a transformation here. We're just looking for a marginal improvement in every conversation. Every next conversation should be better than the previous one.
But one question, Panayotis, can you give us an example of a question that somebody can ask for a marginal improvement? What kind of, is it closed question? Is it open question? What kind of question?
Open question, of course, is open questions, right? And for example, when you have a boss who is being judgmental towards you about something that went wrong, maybe we could ask questions such as, what are the things you will advise me so as to avoid these mistakes next time? What are your views on what I did wrong? And maybe try to help me understand exactly what I did wrong. There were exactly probes to being more specific, right? So with respect, asking questions and probing people to understand, to express themselves more in a way that starts a conversation. It's not only about an interrogation, right? It's about a flow, smooth flow with good questions.
Very clear, very clear.
Excellent. Christine is asking, how can HR leaders help leaders within an organization adopt an agile mindset and help them see beyond performance results?
So I have an issue with HR leaders' mindsets these days, because we are the first ones who should be able to show agility, adaptability, flexibility. So sometimes it's the HR who doesn't show this and just demands it. So first of all, we need to be more agile and flexible with the people we manage, and also provide the tools to them. So a lot of training, a lot of brainstorming, getting people together and building some cases whereby they can envision what does it mean to manage in an agile way. Maybe present some success stories and quick wins to them, and maybe more importantly, getting into their shoes yourself and really getting to the nitty-gritty of their business. So there is a tension whenever HR talks to line managers or senior managers in terms of perception. So managers do not understand, feel that the HR does not understand their business. So convince them that you are trying to understand their business, and maybe they will come closer, and then you can work with them. So it's the first starting point of bringing down the barriers of communication before you even start discussing agile with them.
I love it. One last question from George Svichtos. Do you feel that sometimes people in business confuse empathy with sympathy, and by doing so, they fail to achieve their objectives?
Yeah, absolutely right, George. Hi, George. Sympathy is the easy part, right? Sympathy is, I know how you feel. I've been there. I've done that. I know how you feel, how it is. Empathy is about trying to understand and imagine how it is to be you, right? So this is often confused. Empathy is a skill because it takes effort to be able to understand problems of other people or issues faced by other people, which may not be that important for you. So if someone's dog dies, maybe that's insignificant for you, but for them it might be their whole life because they didn't have children because of other reasons and they were devastated by it. Are you in a position to empathize with them and try to imagine what it feels like to be them? Sympathy is the easy part. It's about knowing how they feel and telling them, I know how you feel, so don't tell me that you are bored or something, that you find it difficult, because I know I was there, I've been there. But that's the easy part. That doesn't require any effort, and it's often communicated wrongly about just talking down on people by telling them that what they've been through, you've been through. But that's not the essence here. That's not the right message. Empathy is actively trying to understand their issues from their point of view, however small they appear to be to you.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you,
don't have any more
Panayotis.
questions today.
Just a very short recap, just to stay on time. Panayotis has told us that effort is discretionary. And if effort is discretionary, watch this episode to know how you can get the best out of your employees by showing empathy and really caring about how they feel, getting into their shoes. And it's no coincidence that my friend Panayotis was hand-chosen out of his consultancy to become a partner at Ernst & Young. This happens 1 in a million. And today we've seen signs why I believe Panayotis is 1 in a million. Thank you, Panayotis, for your time and your effort.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to our next chat, Michalis.
It will be a pleasure. Sophia, any announcements just before we close it?
Yes, one announcement after how many years, Michael? 3 years?
It's 2 years, 3 months, and 17 days.
There you go. We are very excited, and actually I am very excited because I get to participate. Address for Success is going to take place on the 24th of May 2022. This is a full-day workshop on how you can address an audience, how you can win over with your public speech, and we will be happy to welcome you. It will be at Four Seasons Hotel in Limassol. We already have people reserving, so if you want to join us, I suggest you book your ticket today. Contact me or Michael and we will tell you how.
Panayotis will not join because he has already been there and he's done.
Yeah, it was great. I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Panayotis. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Feel free to share this episode. We will appreciate it a lot. And see you all back next Monday. Take good care, guys. Bye-bye.